Okay, welcome to 2026. This is the first menopause morning for 2026, and we're going to get right into literally the biggest and the most common New Year's resolution, and perhaps the New Year's resolution that you have for yourself. And that basically is weight loss. And unfortunately, for so many people, there's that weight loss goal is the same goal every year. It's not achieved or it's achieved and you gain the weight back. And there could be a lot of different factors in that. But this, this really what we're doing here is called the menopause morning. So I want to help you understand how this really ties into whether you're in perimenopause, menopause, or postmenopausal as well, because it's one of those things that, like, first, from a weight loss perspective, you've got to you've got to understand and really take care of the simple things, right? You have to do that. You have to address what's going on with your nutrition. Like, you can't be eating sugar and flour products and drinking soda and expect to lose weight, right? And obviously, that not only do you have to take care of your nutrition, you've got to move your body, right? And sometimes people are taking care of everything nutritionally, and very often you're exercising maybe even to exhaustion on a regular basis, and a lot of times you're still not losing the weight. And and this is where it comes in very handy and understandable for any woman who is just really dealing with the weight gain because of menopause in ways that you just really have never been taught and don't understand. And this is something, I mean, I've literally been working with menopausal women since, well, actually, now how many years? I've been in practice since January of 2001, and I started working with hormones in 2004. So now we're at 21 years of me working with women with hormones. And I'll even share with you that I've looked at well over well over 7,000. Like, the last time I counted, I looked at 7,367 hormone test kits in my career, and I haven't counted it sometimes. So I'm sure at this point it's well over that, and maybe even over 8,000. And and it's so interesting what I see on a regular basis. And again, what I'm talking about with weight loss ties into not your fundamentals of weight loss, not about the nutritional aspect, not about the exercise and the other aspects that tie into this, but it's all about what's going on hormonally and how this is holding you back. All right. So before I get into that, for you, just a little bit of an understanding of what I'm going to be doing here every week as we move into 2026 here. And on Tuesday mornings at 9 a.m. Pacific time, I'm going to be doing what is referred to as the menopause morning. Now, what the menopause morning is going to be is I'm going to get on here live, and bear with me if there's any technical difficulties at this point. I'm new to using things like StreamYard, and so I'm hoping everybody's seeing this as you're supposed to right now. And I've got to work out some of the kinks as far as how you can ask questions live during this. But it's something I'm going to do every week. It's going to be, again, Tuesday, 9 a.m. Pacific time. The only time it's going to be different is if I'm traveling to the point where I can't do it at that time, and I will let everybody know of that case. And what I'm going to do every week, though, is I'm going to talk about something about menopause. These will last probably about 20, 30 minutes, depending on how many questions that come out or comments that we're going to discuss that are separate from the content I'm teaching. But every week, I'm going to teach something new and different from that perspective. Oh, hi, Cindy. Good morning to you. All right, so it's nice to see here. So, Cindy, thank you for sending out that message, because it's helping me see where I can actually get the questions. So now I'm learning something new about StreamYard that I haven't known. But what I want you to really, the benefit for you all through this year, is every week I'm going to talk about a new aspect of what's going on with menopause. And so this week, obviously, our focus is menopause and weight loss, and really how this is holding you back, right? Because here's the big thing. And this is what I see all the time with clients. Clients come into my office, they want to work with me on balancing their hormones and really escape these menopause symptoms that we're led to believe are symptoms of menopause. That's for another segment coming up. Uh, and And what I'm seeing a lot of times is women are actually they're taking care of their nutrition. They're cutting back on sugar. They're cutting back on anything that's going to drive up glucose, which is going to drive up insulin, which is going to lead to weight gain and holding on to more fat. And they're even exercising, and sometimes exercising to an extreme, to the point where you're almost exhausting yourself on a regular daily basis. And then the frustration begins when you're doing all of this and you're still not losing weight, or you're losing very little weight. And then when you continue doing this and working through this cycle long term, where you're taking care of everything and you're doing all the exercise and you're doing all the things that you've been told you should do, the frustration eventually turns into hopelessness. And I'm here to give you hope today. Yeah, because the reality is that when you're going through perimenopause, menopause, or even if you're postmenopausal, there's a big tie into this with estrogen. Now, to understand, your body and the female body from this perspective, is in childbearing years, most of your estrogen is going to be produced in your ovaries. Once you enter perimenopause, the ovaries are starting to slow down the production of estrogen from the ovaries specifically. And now, if everything is working properly in your hormonal system, well, then that estrogen lack of production from the ovaries is now going to be picked up by your adrenal glands. So as you enter into perimenopause, what the ovaries are not producing anymore, your adrenals will start to produce. And even to understand, go a little bit deeper with this, even in childbearing years, about a third of your estrogens are produced in your adrenals, and the most of the other two-thirds are produced in your ovaries. But then the shift happens, and then the ovaries aren't producing as much. But the way your body is designed, if you believe in God or the universe or whatever you may you refer to this as, your body was designed to perfectly transition from childbearing years into perimenopause, into menopause, and then postmenopausally with perfect hormone balance. Right. But the kicker here, though, is, and this is where the rubber hits the road, so to say, is that if you enter perimenopause and your adrenals are blown out, which is a common factor for most women in today's culture, and that's going to be something I'm going to talk about in another segment probably later in this month. But when you enter menopause, and that those adrenal glands, and to be a little bit more technical, it's not just the adrenals, it's literally how your brain, your hypothalamus, your pituitary, and your adrenals all work synergistically together. And when that is happening, if you're one of the lucky, like literally 15% of the women who that's still working at menopause, you don't have menopause symptoms. And because your body's still able to maintain that perfect production of estrogen, progesterone, the testosterone, all the things that you need to do with from and within your adrenal glands and that whole system I just mentioned. But that's not most women. That's probably not you, because it's literally 85% of the women who enter menopause, and it's literally 2 million women every year in the US enter menopause. And out of that, only about 15% have a healthy, brain, hypothalamus, pituitary, and adrenal axis that works synergistically together. So in essence, that means that it's only 15% of the women who are actually symptom free through menopause. Now the other 85% are dealing with symptoms. This could be hot flashes, this could be mood swings, it could be sleeplessness, it could be fatigue, it could be brain fog, and the primary symptoms that we're talking about today, which is weight gain. This is why when most people, granted about 85%, enter menopause, you gain 10, 15, 20, 25 pounds, sometimes more weight. And the reason for this is because when your body is transitioning from your ovaries producing estrogen to your adrenals producing estrogen, yet that adrenal system is not vital enough to do its job. Do you know where's the next place you're going to be able to produce estrogen? And that next place is in fat cells. So when you do not have proper estrogen production, because the ovaries are transitioning into the adrenals, taking most of this commitment on, and the adrenals can't do it, your body still is starving for estrogen. So the next best place, as mentioned, for you to produce estrogen is going to be in fat cells. So what your body does is it starts accumulating more fat cells, because the more fat cells you have, the more estrogen can be produced within that adipose tissue. Yeah, and hence this is why so many women, I've seen this time and time again, where again the women are doing, you're doing everything you need to do. You're rocking your nutrition. You're working out like a fiend. I can remember there was a gym that I used to belong to when I lived in Illinois years ago, and there was a woman that I would watch every single day, and she would literally go from the stair machine to the bicycle to the treadmill, and she would do like a half hour in each. And she would do the I don't know if she did this daily, but every time I went to the gym, this woman was there doing her routine. And this woman would be just sweating profusely. She would be working to exhaustion on a regular basis. And yet I saw her continually putting on more weight, not losing weight. Could you imagine the frustration that she felt over time? Can you imagine longer term the hopelessness that she would potentially feel because of that? And this, honestly, on some level, could be you as well. Yeah. So what I want you to really understand with this is that it's difficult to lose the weight because your body is trying to hold on to fat cells to normalize your estrogen production. And here's the whole thing. Now, is the answer taking bioidentical hormones and taking estrogen? And while that could provide a symptom care, it doesn't fix the problem. Yeah, because what I want you to understand, we're going to go much deeper into this next week with the next menopause morning. But what I want you to understand here is that taking estrogen doesn't fix the problem. It can, as I said, provide some symptom care, but the problem is deeper than just estrogen. You see, because when you think of your adrenal glands, which I mentioned earlier, like for you to go through estrogen with ease, and for you to be able to, to even number one, to not gain the weight in the first place. But if you've already gained the weight because you're low in estrogen, what you really need to do is you really need to get the adrenal glands and that system I talked about earlier between your brain, your hypothalamus, your pituitary adrenals back into vitality. And when you can get that, create the vitality back in that system, your body can naturally produce the estrogens that you need, which then tells your body that you don't need the fat cells anymore, because now you're producing the estrogen where it's designed to produce it, and your body can just stop dropping the weight because it can start eliminating the fat cells. Now, of course, with this, let's remember, you still have to take care of your nutrition. You still have to move your body. You still have to address the triggers for your hormonal system. But those are the different areas that I'm going to get into every week as we go through 2026 here. And with this understanding, I want you to also get that when we talk about this system of how your brain, your hypothalamus, your pituitary, and your adrenals work together, it's not just about weight. So this is a little snippet of things you're going to learn as time is going by. So when the system isn't working, it's not just affecting a lack of estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone that is affecting your hormone imbalance, what I would call it. It's it's affecting the function of your thyroid, your pancreas, women in childbearing years, your ovaries. It's affecting your overall metabolism of fat and protein. It's affecting your regulation of body weight and fat, which is what we're talking about today. It's affecting your mucosal lining, which is your first layer of defense of your immune system. This is affecting also every level of detoxification in your body. This is affecting your immune regulation, which is not just about whether you get sick or not. This also plays a deep role in your overall body's ability to maintain and repair itself. It affects your pro and anti-inflammatory states. And to be able to create an anti-inflammatory state is another big issue tied into weight loss, because a lot of times that when I'm working with women, will recognize that there's some weight gain because of the storage of fat cells to produce estrogen. But very often there's also an inflammatory response to something going on in the body, and that's going to drive up weight as well. All right. Now, on top of that, the system plays a role in blood sugar stability, which is also an essential part of weight loss. also tied into cellular energetics. And I'm sure you would enjoy more energy right now, right today, at this moment, and every moment moving forward. It also ties into your musculoskeletal, so your bone and connective tissue turnover, as well as your muscular integrity. And then lastly, this system ties into your overall neural connectivity. So that's your quality sleep, mood, your ability to memorize and learn, and your overall neural connectivity, which is basically your brain and nervous system, which is the master regulator of everything. So when I'm talking about this system, and I'm talking about helping you really lose weight and to get the hormonal system back into balance. It's not just about weight loss. And it's not even just about menopause. It's about the entirety of your body. It's such a holistic impact on what's really going on. And from a weight loss perspective, if you are the person who is doing the things right and you are taking care of your nutrition and you are actually in a place where you're doing exercise, doing all this, and still not losing the weight, it's most likely tied into what's going on with that adrenal system that I'm talking about. And the great thing, and this is what I'm going to get into deeper next week. Next week, I'm going to talk about the whole of that system. I'm going to talk about how there is that interaction between the brain, the hypothalamus, pituitary, and adrenals. I'm going to share with you how that impacts what you're dealing with symptom wise, tied into entering perimenopause, menopause, or being postmenopausal. And I'm going to show you how that system works so you can understand how you can really, most importantly, how you can fix it. Yeah, and that's what I've seen over the last, as I said, I've been working with hormones for over 21 years now, or at the 21-year point. And I see women on a regular basis be able to lose weight really without even focusing on losing weight. Focus on your fundamentals of health, focus on getting your hormones back into natural balance, focus on dealing with your triggers and the inflammatory responses. And you know what? The weight just falls off. And I'm sure that's what you're looking for 2026. And I hope to play a major role in you enjoying that. Now, also, as we go through this, and whether it be today or any of the upcoming weeks that I do this, if you ever have any comments or questions, feel free to put those into the chat, and then I will address those live as they come up. So if anybody does have any questions, go ahead and put those in there, questions and or comments. And if you're watching this replay on Facebook or YouTube or Instagram or somewhere, and you still have a question, just put the question in there, and then I will check those areas. And if you have a question, I will address it for you personally. And also, if there's anything tied into menopause that you want me to really focus on an upcoming segment, please let me know, and I will address that for you, which will not only help you, will most likely help many other women as well. So again, next week on Tuesday at 9 a.m., I'm going to get into the underlying factors of really how this system works. More importantly, how you can fix it and how you can actually understand the underlying triggers, and to help get you started with this today. Whether you're watching this on my personal Facebook page or my Depke Wellness Feel Young Again business page, or YouTube or Instagram, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a little gift to get started. So you're going to have a link below. I'll get this up here later today, or yeah, definitely later today. I'll get you a link to get a free copy of my electronic copy of my book. It's called Fat, Fatigued, and Frustrated. And basically, what this book is, it is an accumulation of all of the simple things that you need to do to begin taking care of your fundamentals of health, which is going to be a foundation to which you can then work on what's going on with your hormonal system and the triggers within that. So that link will be there later today. And again, it'll be a free book for you that all you have to do is provide your information, and that book will be emailed to you. So, and it doesn't look like I have any questions right now. Yeah, so again, if you have questions watching this on the replay, go ahead and put those in the comments below, and I will address those questions as quickly as possible. And I look forward to connecting with you next week on on Tuesday at 9 a.m. Pacific time, where we will address the underlying factors of really how your hormonal system works. And again, more importantly, how you can fix it. So, with that said, have a great rest of your day. Have a fantastic week. And I will see you next Tuesday. Take care. Happy New Year.